it is Oscars weekend this weekend. And Ian, would you mind telling us the story about when you were nominated for Gandalf?
Oh, yeah.
And you had the beads. Yeah.
Well, they weren't beads. In New Zealand, where we filmed Lord of the Rings, if you're lucky, when you leave, you're given a piece of green stone carved, and you wear it often enough, and your chances are that you'll get back to New Zealand. That's the idea. And it'll bring you a bit of luck. So when those films were nominated for something like 20 Oscars on that night, everybody from New Zealand was wearing their green stone, their punami, they're called. And when we were on the red carpet going into the ceremony, I met Maggie Smith. Hello, what are you here for? I said, well, Lord of the Rings. Oh, yeah. She said, what's that round your neck? Oh, so it's my punami, Maggie. Oh, your punami, what's that for? I said, well, if I wear it, it'll bring me luck, and, oh, very nice. And we went our separate ways, and you know it lasts for 3.5 or 4 hours, you know, don't you? Oh, yeah. Oh, God, you sit there and sit there. And at the end, of course, everyone else wins the Oscar apart from you. And a bit dejected, you're coming out looking forward to a drink, and you bump into Maggie Smith, and she points out at you and she says, it didn't work, did it?
Your first one was when you were 13.
That's
so bonkers.
13.
And again, Mom was your date?
Mum was there. Mum's been at all of them. She can't get enough. She loves it. She went and there I am.
Oh, my God!
In a nice green dress.
No, goes that for that's Halloween. That's Halloween.
On, Ireland.
You're wearing a green dress.
You should have met
I didn't have a choice. That was me in my green dress.
Oh.
And Mum came with me and she was so excited. All she wanted to do was meet John Travolta.
Did she?
Yeah, she met John Travolta. She'd been to see Saturday Night Fever 27 times.
That's wow.
In the cinema. 27 times. So all she wanted, she didn't care whether I won or lost. She's the one that's put this mindset in my head. She's like, you're gonna lose. I think it was Tilda Swinton that was gonna win that year. And she's like, you're not gonna win. But I am gonna meet John Travolta. And while we were on the red carpet, I think I was doing an interview for like E! Or something like that. And I was you know, you're so unaware of everything when you're that age. And apparently behind me, Mum was stood there and George Clooney went by and he stopped to talk to someone and he was stood on her dress. And the whole way through the interview, Mum's just going, excuse me. And she gets like progressively more aggressive and she's like, can you get off your dress? So that's all everyone talked about afterwards.
Eddie's one of the... You like the chatting about it, don't you?
I need to be like mollycoddled and told I'm great in order for me to do it.
No, you do
I
not.
promise I do.
I'll
Jen.
never forget that head smack.
Oh, yeah,
from what's it called? Theory of Everything.
No, but this was so when we did this interview together. Like Jen, who's done more stunts and sort of action, brilliant set pieces. We were trying to talk about the film Theory of Everything, and she kept going back to the head smack. There's a moment in the film where I hit my head. She was like, "Tell me how you did it."
I know, you literally won an Academy Award for this performance. I haven't said one thing to you about anything artistic about the movie. I'm like, I just do that head smack, bro.
I remember in the interview trying to create some really complicated way in which I did it, whereas actually they sort of put a foam bit on the floor and they just made me tied my hands behind my thing and made me do that.
Even whacking your head on foam without holding your hand, like, that's scary.
So brave.
Hey.
And I have a stunt double.
Well done you. Well done you. Now, I don't want to jinx anything, but Eddie Redmayne was here last New Year's Eve. As he left the building, I said, good luck with the Oscars. Only won an Oscar! He won an Oscar, ladies and gentlemen!
Thanks for that, Ben.
Yeah?
Very generous.
I was right before you ran out when you were introducing him. I realized we had been like talking and catching up, and then you were like, an Academy Award winner. I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot. Congratulations. Never talked to you after that.
I know, and again...
Not on purpose.
No. And again, it's weird because you don't want to talk about these things, but you had a bad one. Was it the night you won your Oscar?
The night I won my... Oh, I don't want to talk about that night. I had a whole meltdown.
Okay.
That sounds riveting. I
It
want
was
to
a
talk about
series
that.
of things. It was like a birth control confusion, so I was like hormonal. I fell on my face. I forgot to thank the director. So I was just like, what does it all mean? Nothing! I came home crying, and then my friend was like, ordered the wrong pizza. It wasn't thin crust, it was thick crust. I was just like,
I imagine very different scenes in the Redmayne household.
Slightly different.
oh, really?
Well, basically, I have a plethora of brothers, and their sort of favourite thing is to sort of come... Well, I did this film a couple of years ago called Savage Grace with Julianne Moore.
Keep going quickly.
It's disastrous.
No, you left them at come.
Oh, God. And it's going to get worse. So I did this film a couple of years ago called Savage Grace, and it was one of the first jobs that I was so proud of. It was with Julianne Moore. It involved incest. I played her son, and she sleeps with him to sort of try and change her sexuality. Anyway, I was so pleased to have got a job. I was so proud of it. And they came to the London Film Festival premiere, and it was only sort of as I was sitting down, surrounded by my family, with all my brothers sitting next to my dad, basically looking at him like this, as I was about to have to do a love scene with my mother in the film just to see what his reaction would be. And basically, that's always their thing. They just sort of sit next to... They see who can get closest to Dad in order to watch what his sort of perilous reaction is going to be.
Ooh. I had to kick my brother out from, like, award season for a little bit because he tried to arm wrestle Matthew McConaughey. He was, like, not into it. It was Winter's Bone. Nobody knew who I was.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, since you were last here, Olivia Colman, I feel like our own Olivia Colman now has an Oscar. I mean, it's so exciting. It's very exciting. None of your best supporting. No, actual, full-on best ever. Yeah.
I don't think it says best ever.
I think it is. I think they're finishing it now. They've stopped. Yeah. You won.
Cool.
But it must have been a bonkers night.
I actually can't remember it. And we were saying backstage, we met, can't remember it.
She was in a daze after she won,
Yeah.
so she didn't even remember.
But in fairness, Chadwick Boseman, a huge night for you as well. I mean, Black Panther was up for how many awards? 7?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It was a great... You know, I expected it to be just a normal night. It was like there's a whole bunch of hype about being at the Oscars and being nominated, but there was some magic in the air. It was a real sparkle, you know.
Just wish I could remember any of it.
Because, Richard, what was it like for you sitting at home?
Not at the Oscars. Yes. It was business as usual. And I look forward to a lifetime of not being there.
No, but it must be nice cheering on Olivia, because you guys have known each other for a really long time.
Oh, I bitterly resented it. Bitterly. Oh, yes. Well, I, at college, lived next to Olivia's husband.
Yeah.
It's not a great story, but it is true. It doesn't really have an arc.
Yeah.
As a story, it kind of ends.
Yeah, but it's true.
It's true. It's true, but boring. Like me.
And now, Ellen, you've been nominated a couple of times for the Oscars.
Yeah, I didn't win them.
No, but you got nominated.
No, but I still didn't win them.
But now, is that why you don't enjoy events like this?
No, it's not that. I'm not very good at sitting still, so you have to have your hair and makeup.
She's really not.
I'm really not good. And so it's... and they're long events.
Yes.
They do, but the great thing about the Oscars is that the bar is just there, just behind there. And so almost all the time, everyone's in the bar.
Everybody's
No
get
one's
to the
sitting
bar.
in it. That's true.
There are
They're all the
hundreds of seat fillers. Hundreds.
Oh, really?
So almost
yeah.
everybody is getting bladdered. And then someone comes in and go, we're up to best documentary. And they go, shit. And people go running in. But
running
were you
in?
in the bar most of the time?
Oh, yeah, I was.
I was there 90% of the time. It's lovely.
But, Helen, I think one of the reasons that Helena mightn't enjoy the Oscars is because you can't control who you bump into on the red carpet. I think we've got a picture of you the year you were nominated for the King's Speech on the red carpet. Really? Look at Helena's thrilled face. the horror.
I don't remember that. I don't know. You've just superimposed that.
No, there are multiple
you
pictures.
have faith.
And what's so funny is there are multiple pictures, and we thought, oh, maybe we've picked an unfortunate picture. No, your face is like that in them all.
I got good judgment, obviously. That was way before he became Donald Trump, wasn't it?
We know what you mean.
Yeah,
we know what you mean.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. Actually, there is an Oscar link on the thing, because I think the year you won I mean, is this right or wrong? That the year you won for Les Miserables, now you might have been out the back having a comfort break or something. Daniel Radcliffe was dancing on stage.
Well, yeah.
Weren't you?
She probably remembers it very much more as the night she won an Oscar. But yes, I also was there and danced that night. Yeah.
Something else happened.
Yeah. I know, weird. Yeah, well, that year the Oscars were produced by people who had produced a musical that I did.
Oh, yeah.
And so they, like, invited me to come and dance as part of the ceremony. I was like, no one's going to ask you to do this again. Better say yes. And yeah, so I did that, and it was, you know, terrifying, but...
Well, when you say terrifying, though, I kind of think, are you doing kind of meditation beforehand or something? Because that's so terrifying, to sing and dance on live television.
Yeah, you just sort... I don't know. You just go to, like, a blank space. I don't know. You just sort of think, well... I've told everyone I'm going to do it now, and there's a lot of people out there, and if I don't go out with these other two guys that are going to dance, it's going to look really weird. So I guess this is the only option we have left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
Yeah.
The last time we saw you, it was just the start of A Star Is Born, that whole incredible year, that whole incredible journey of that movie. So congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you get? An Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA 4 Grammys. I didn't realize the soundtrack album was in the charts for 64 weeks. That's nuts.
It's pretty crazy. That sold a lot of records. I'm so proud of that whole project, and you know, also just like making that soundtrack was like it was my baby, you know. So that's been pretty cool.
I've got a picture of you at the Oscars, the night of the Oscars, and so this diamond.
Oh my God, I look just like that right now. It's so weird.
It's uncanny. But that is the diamond. That diamond is in the middle of that Breakfast at Tiffany's necklace.
Yeah, so that diamond was in a necklace that Audrey wore for Breakfast at Tiffany's. And then the diamond was put into a different setting, and it's this priceless diamond that Tiffany's had, and they offered it to me to wear at the Oscars, and I was, you know, the street kid in me from New York was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna wear that big thing.
But does it not kind of wreck your night? Because presumably you've got security guards under each armpit, and there's people crawling all over
Graham,
you.
I already thought I had too much security before I put that diamond on, and then I put that diamond on, and I was like, am I the president? Like, I didn't really know what was going on. And it was really funny because I really didn't know what was going to happen that night. I was just excited to be there. You know, that's mostly generally how I feel at these events, is like, oh, I'm just happy to be here, right? And so then I won an Oscar, and I was so excited, and I'm having champagne, and I'm drinking, and my sister was my date, so, you know, like, we're really barreling through the champagne backstage with the Oscar, and I just leave. And I leave with the diamond on, and I didn't tell anyone, like, I just left. And Tiffany started freaking out. They were like, she's gone. She left with the diamond. And actually, I went to go hang out with Madonna at her manager's house. And I got to the house, and I was just chilling with Madonna while, like, all these security guards were, like, just side-eyeing me from, you know, every corner of the room, and every time I hugged someone, they would like get a little closer to make sure it was still on, and then I left, and I really wanted to go to Taco Bell, so we were trying to go to Taco Bell, and then all of a sudden the car got pulled over by Tiffany's security, and it was very politely removed from my neck.
And yourself and Ben Affleck, the night of the winning Oscars and everything, because I think we just saw a picture. There you are. 'Cause how old are you there?
I'm 27 and Ben's 25.
Well, you look even younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, funnily enough, we'd been in the business for a while then. I mean, I got in the union when I was 16, so, I mean, that's 11 years after getting in the union.
But that still must be such a kind of mind thing.
Yeah, I mean, it took a really long time to just process everything. I mean, things happen so fast, you know, even though we'd been hanging around Hollywood for a long time, and that movie, Good Will Hunting, you know, was 5 years in the making. So it happened kind of in slow motion for us. We were anxious to get it going. Things weren't moving fast enough. But once all of that happened kind of overnight.
That night must have sent you into a tailspin. Did you go crazy that actual night? Did you go nuts?
Actually, I remember very clearly going back with my girlfriend at the time, and we went to house, and she went to sleep, and I seriously, I couldn't. Well, I had a ponytail back then. But I couldn't sleep. I was just kind of still buzzing and was sitting there, and I remember very clearly looking at that award and thinking very, very clearly. Am I allowed to say a four-letter word on this show?
Sure.
I literally looked at it. I was alone with it, and I said to myself, "Thank God I didn't anybody over for this." And I suddenly had this kind of thing wash over me where I thought, imagine chasing that and not getting it, and getting it finally in your 80s or your 90s with all of life behind you, and realizing what an unbelievable waste of your, you know what I mean? Because it can't, it's got to be, you know what I mean? It's not,
it can't be good enough.
Right. It can't fill you up. It will never, if that's a hole that you have, that won't fill it, right? And I felt so, like, blessed to have that awareness at 27.
To learn it at that age.
To learn it, and because I wouldn't have known it unless I knew it, you know what I mean?
You're right, like, imagine figuring it out at 80, that would be...
How hard, and I literally, like, my heart broke for a second. It's like I imagined another one of me, you know, an old man, kind of going like, oh my God, where did my life go? What have I done? And then it's over, you know?
And what was the phrase? There was a phrase that you heard, was it in a movie you heard a phrase? There goes...
Oh, yeah. I said it to my mother. This is funny. I said, in the movie The Natural, Robert Redford, and it's based on something the baseball player Ted Williams once said. But so his character, Roy Hobbs, in The Natural says, all I want is to walk down the street, you know, and when I walk down the street for people to say, there goes Roy Hobbs, the best that ever was. And my mother, and I loved that movie, and I loved Robert Redford, and my mother asked me one day, well, what is it that you want, Matthew? What do you... And I said, look, all I want is to walk down the street someday and have people say, there goes Matt Damon, the best that ever was. And she goes, that is the most disgusting, self-involved thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
And I think, Ariana, were you nominated? I don't know. You weren't even nominated the last time I saw you, but now you've won the Oscar for West Side Story.
I know. That's crazy. Thank you. Thank you.
Like, that's a thing.
I'm sandwiched by two Oscars. Like, what am I doing here?
No, that means yours is coming.
I won my Oscars. Mine.
No, it was a great night. It was a great experience. I mean, I think I might have blacked out. I mean, between like being in really tall Valentino shoes and trying not to trip over Jada Pinkett, like it's a miracle I made it to the podium at all.
I think it was the tripping over Jada we were worried about.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on. Yeah.
What's that song? Diamonds on the soles of her feet. What's that?
Diamonds on the soles of her shoes. Paul Simon.
Paul Simon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's got diamonds on the soles of my
That's
feet.
them. That is. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, they're chic.
Oh, yeah, look at that. That's amazing.
Love shopping, Helen. Love shopping. Since we last saw you, Emma Stone, on this show, you went and won an Oscar. Well done, you. Yes. Yeah. And there's, you know, often people in their speeches go, you know, oh, I never dreamt of this moment. But you did more than dream of this moment. I mean, you planned this.
It wasn't that specific.
For that movie.
To be fair. No, I mean, what, you mean just like in terms of my childhood
Yes, when you
dreams?
When you made your pitch to your parents.
Yes. This story will never die.
Well, no, but I know. How old were you when you did it? Because it's amazing.
I was 14. I was almost 15, and I made a PowerPoint presentation for my parents.
But this was... So you wanted to move to LA, and they didn't want you to go. They weren't going to let you move. Is that it?
Well, no, they hadn't even heard the idea yet.
Oh,
it was
I
just
see.
like, I realized if I'm gonna, you know, we lived about a 6-hour drive from LA in Phoenix, Arizona, and I realized I couldn't just come home in my freshman year of high school, which is, what, grade 9? 9th grade?
Sure.
Okay. And I realized I couldn't just walk in and go like, I'm moving. I'm 14 and here I go. So I decided to make a PowerPoint presentation about why it would be a good idea for me to move to Los Angeles and follow my big dreams.
But you went for it, like it had music and everything.
Yeah, it had this song Hollywood by Madonna.
Were you in a sensible pantsuit?
I should have been in a sensible pantsuit. I think I was in my, like, high school. I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, so I think I was in, like, a plaid skirt and a collared shirt.
And so Madonna's playing, and then what? You just had a series of reasons why you should go.
A series of reasons why this would be a good idea, not just at any time, but now. And for some reason, it did eventually, it worked. And I would punish my child if they had done that. But they believed in me, those freaks.
Yeah. But it is true that the presentation ended with...
With a... Let me go? What?
No, didn't it end with...
you probably remember more about it than I do.
Well, doesn't it end? It ends with you putting up the picture, and it says Emma Stone, actress, was it best actress?
No.
No, didn't it end?
Who told you that?
It ended with you winning an Oscar.
First of all, my name is Emily, so there's no way it said Emma.
Okay.
And then no.
So you didn't say you were going to win an Oscar. Why are we telling this story?
No. Why are we telling this story?
What is the point of this story?
I was going to win an Oscar.
That's what I thought. I thought the whole point of this...
That's crazy.
I thought, well, it's quite crazy anyway.
It is crazy. It's crazy across the board, but that would have made it like absolutely, she's going somewhere. And it's not there. It's somewhere else.
Oh, well, you won an Oscar. There you go. It all ended well. It all ended well. But you talk about when you got your Oscar, you put it in the attic.
I did.
Is it out of the attic now?
Yes, I did finally bring it down, yeah. I felt, you know, I thought the Oscar had sort of been given to me as a kind of welcome to Hollywood. I did.
Oh, that's adorable.
Well, honestly,
That's so sweet. You know, that's
you know, I never, as I said, I'd never made a movie before. It was the first movie I ever made. And so I thought, I don't really feel worthy of this. So I stuck it up in my attic for a while. It's now beautifully displayed in my office.
Oh,
but,
that's adorable.
Yeah.
You walk in, floodlights come on.
But I did keep it up there for quite a while.
Reese, yours is nicely displayed?
You know what? Well, I didn't have it in the attic, but I did have it sort of tucked away.
Now, why did you do that?
I don't know. I felt like it was a little...
Showy-offy?
And then, I don't know, I went through some personal stuff, and then I was like, you know what? I'm putting it in the front living room. I might make it into the doorbell. And I don't have this anymore.
Ben, when Matt Damon, he's been here, and he talked about the night you won the Oscar for Good Will Hunting, and he has a kind of particular take on it. And yeah.
I don't look very happy in that particular photograph. I
You
assure
don't
you
look
I
thrilled.
was.
He looks
Matt
thrilled.
looks drunk.
But looking back, do you kind of rejoice that you had that amazing success so early on, or does a bit of you kind of not regret it, but sort of, I don't know, think it was a bit of a curse?
I mean, I don't think it was a curse, but I couldn't really appreciate it. I mean, it was very hallucinatory. It was like, I don't know if you've ever been in a traffic accident, but there's that moment where you go, oh my God, I'm gonna crash into this wall over here. You know, everything sort of slows down and you're spinning around. That was how it kind of felt. They said our names and I sort of looked at Matt and was like, should we get up? And we get up and there's, you know, people are clapping, and there was Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau presented it to us, and, you know, Billy Crystal was hosting and he was going, Matt and Ben, and, you know, I was 24 years old. I mean, I barely knew anything at all. And it was, you know, I mean, I think it was in some ways trouble to get that much attention that young, and I really didn't have any perspective on it at all. It was a wonderful honor, but it was, you know, I certainly appreciated later on much more what it meant.
And was there a kind of thing where people thought you were that character.
Yeah, I think people thought that Matt was the math genius and then I was his sort of dim-witted friend he dragged along from home. You know what I mean? They were like, you give him an Oscar too. All right, guy. And that stayed with me for a while. You're all right too. You can go ahead. You know.
So being back at the Oscar podium for Argo, that must have been such a kind of what a satisfying.
Hopefully,
moment.
no one thought I was a dim-witted friend. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, no, that was it was much more satisfying, and I had been through so much stuff, so many ups and downs, and humiliations, and highs and lows, and you know, at that point, I had 3 children, and I had built a whole life, and it felt like something that was much more. I appreciated it, and I really felt like. I also knew what it meant and what it didn't mean, you know what I mean, and that what was important about it and what wasn't, and it was a really nice night, and I got to share it with people that I really loved, and it was probably a much more healthy experience.
Kate Winslet, when you talk about your Oscar, I really like it because you were just so, no false modesty, you wanted to win it, you loved winning it, it was just a brilliant thing.
I'm still thrilled even now, and it was about 7 years ago. Oh no, it's the most extraordinary moment. I mean, I had...
Because you've been nominated a bunch of times.
Well, you see, the thing is, you get really good at losing. When you get nominated more than a couple of times. And
weren't you nominated twice that same year, isn't it? No.
I had
2 categories.
Don't make me say it.
Sorry. Well, I said it for you.
So you were up in 2 categories that year.
I was. What had happened was I had 2 films come out at the same time, which is not uncommon actually. But it just so happened that both of those films were getting this type of attention. And I went to the Golden Globes that year, and I had been nominated in 2 different categories and won them both, which was quite fabulous, actually. Sorry, everybody else, but it was fantastic.
It does look greedy.
Oh, my God, no, it's ever so...
showing off.
I am completely showing off, 100%.
Right, I say to
and then when I did win, it was a really fantastic moment. I've got to say, it was, you know, personal fist pumping moment, the biggest one of my whole life.
But you're really generous with the Oscar, aren't you?
Well, one tries. You know, the thing is, first of all, it's very heavy. I just need to say that. It weighs about 6 or 7 pounds. It's really surprisingly heavy. So, and everyone wants to have a hold, of course, and wants to stand up and go, oh, I'd like to thank my primary school teachers and my mum and dad. And so the best place really for Oscar is actually the loo, because then when everyone goes in for a wee or a poo, they can really take their time in front of the mirror with Oscar. And you can always tell because they flush, and then there's about another 5 minutes. You're playing with Oscar. And they come out and how was Oscar? And they go, oh my God, it's so heavy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun watching people's faces.
It's the time test. Too long for pee, too short for poo.
That's
you know they're in there with the Oscar.
Because you went through the whole Oscar thing, Michael. Did you go with a speech in your pocket, or?
No, I didn't. I don't know why. I never really prepare speeches. I probably should, looking back on some of the ones that I've made. Especially a best man speech that I did one time, which was awful. I just really kind of went blank. Yeah, it was. It's okay, they're divorced now.
You didn't waste your time.
Yeah,
you're not joking, are you?
No. But yeah, no, I never prepared. No.
Have you been to the Oscars 50?
Yeah, once. I was like in the back.
Were you near the bar?
I just wanted to feel the energy in the room, like when they're taking selfies and stuff like that. I was like this.
Waving at Meryl.
Yeah,
We've met!
Yeah. In the back, like...
Putting on your green hat. It's me! Very, 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 very exciting. Oscar nominated for your new film, Flight. Congratulations. Yes. It's an amazing, 6th nomination.
Yes.
You've won twice.
Yes.
When you get the call this time round, is it as exciting, or is it kind of...
Well, it's not like the first time. I mean, the first time went crazy, but it's still an honor, great honor.
Who are you going to go with?
Actually, I think I may be going by myself. My wife is doing a play in New York.
Should we have a competition? By the way. Shut up. So your wife's in a play?
Yeah, she's doing a play. So
you're just going by yourself?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'd take my mother or something.
Because you took your mother before, didn't you?
Yeah, and my wife.
Together?
Yeah.
Well, that was a brave move. Because I don't know where you told this. You were telling a story about it's a classic mother. Mothers are obsessed, aren't they, by centerpieces?
Oh yeah.
Wherever they go, they love a centerpiece.
Yeah. So the governor's ball afterwards is a big dinner, and they had these big centerpieces, and she started talking about how beautiful it was, and I could see where she was going. I don't know if I had won that year. I don't know if I carried out the Oscar or the centerpiece or both. but I did carry out the centerpiece. I did. He's like, grab that, son. Mom, not taking. She says, what's a waste? Those beautiful flowers, so I'm walking out.
Everyone on the couch, when you've been to award shows, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, you've all taken your parents, which is, I mean, that seems, you know, to have four of you all do the same thing.
Touching.
It's lovely. Is that, now, Ryan, your mom, I mean, I'm sure she likes meeting the celebrities, but isn't it the gift room is really her thing she enjoys?
I don't want to out my mom like this. I will tell a funny story about that picture, though, which is that my mom was convinced that year by her friend that beehives were going to be all the rage. And if you didn't have a beehive, you'd feel embarrassed. And it turned out to be the opposite. It was a natural hair vibe that night. And my mom sat in front of Rachel Wise, and her hair was so high that Rachel had to keep... And my mom kept sinking in her chair, and I didn't know what to do because I was, you know, I wanted to have a nice night, so I didn't know Meryl Streep, but she was sitting next to me, and I said in a commercial break, would you mind just telling my mom you like her hair, you know? Aww. And she was like, I got this. And then the commercial went, she goes, do you know, I wish I was going to do a beehive, and I wish I had. My mom was like, raising the roof all night.
Does she already know that story, your mom?
My mom?
Yeah.
Oh.
And now you're
Yikes! She'll never see this.
She'll never see this. Yeah.